All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Late Night Shots Podcast, episode 102. Today we have here number one at 132, Nick Bouzakis, committed to Ohio State. So, what's up, man? How you doing?
Nothing much. Feeling good. How are you guys?
We're doing all
Good.
right. So, before we get into this podcast, Derek has a quick word from our sponsors.
All right, everyone. As you know, we're sponsored by Body Art Nutrition. You could use code HWTN20 at checkout to save 20%. That's in the link down below. We also have two new sponsors. First video, we're going to be talking about them. You could use our code HWT15 at defensesoap.com. That link will also be in the bio. And then you could use the code. There isn't a code, but there's a link down below. You get 25% off of Liquid IV, all products across their website. And there you go, guys. Three sponsors now. We're on the come up.
That's better than expected. But, let's get into it. So, I want to say, you're heading to Ohio State. Like, what you looking forward to?
Man, I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to get there.
Yeah.
I already have a good bond with a few of the boys over there, like Sammy. He's from around my area in Pennsylvania. So I've already trained with him at the Dark Knights a few times. So I'm really looking forward to getting out there and scrapping. Already been out there a few times on some unofficial, so I can train and get better and get ready for Vegas.
Yeah, so you're part of, I want to say, the biggest recruiting class next year. You got yourself, Nick Feldman, Jesse Mendez, was all number one. I think Jesse's number two at their respective weight class. So, Feldman's guy, I want to say the entire high school wrestling scene's pretty much been about him recently after his performance of who's number one, just being the freak of nature that he is. So, you're part of this recruiting class. Like, what are you looking forward to in that?
Well, so fun fact, Nick Feldman's going to be my roommate. We're roommates in college for the first year, and then we're going to try to stick together because he's a very straight-minded kid, very focused on what he wants to do, and I want to surround myself with like-minded people like that. And I feel like he's a really good kid, and I know I'll stay straight whenever I'm out in college and I'm surrounded by him. Good kid, works hard, and yeah, I love our recruiting class. We got a few other people up in the air right now, so I would keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I've been looking closely in because I know Ohio State. After Snyder left, Miles Martin left, it was like kind of going under the radar a bit, and then nobody's really looking at this recruiting class coming in, right? I'm pretty sure a good amount of you probably going to redshirt, but 2024.
Yeah, me and Bo were talking about it, and Coach Tom Ryan. And listen, I've always been this type of guy. I don't want to go to the number one school. I want to beat them. That's why I came to Sim over Blair, because I want to knock off Blair. So I came to Ohio State because I'd rather build something than just be another number in another program.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, going to Ohio State, a lot, after the season that they had this year, wasn't the best for them performance-wise. But I mean, you got to think with this recruiting class, some things are going to change in that Ohio State wrestling room, and then obviously the performance in duels and at nationals. So, I mean, looking forward to your, combining with this recruiting class and, the studs that are already there. What are you looking forward to in, your first couple of years there at Ohio State?
Honestly, Coach has been telling me you need to relax because I want to get on the mat right away. I want to start scrapping. I want to wrestle Penn State. I want to wrestle Iowa. I want to wrestle all these schools. I'm ready to go. I want to start dominating out there. I know it's going to take me some time to get ready for college, but I want to go. I want to wrestle. And I feel like with our recruiting class coming in, give it 2 years, I guarantee we'll probably be on top of college wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Iowa. You got to think, 2 of your former SEM teammates going to Iowa, and Colby Franklin, Gabe Arnold. So what's that like for you? And those boys are in the Big Ten as well with you. And I'm sure a couple other your SEM guys. You got Bo Bartlett. Obviously, he's at Penn State. And, he's had a pretty good career so far there. So what's that like for you? Seeing a bunch of these Blue Knights in the Big Ten, and now including yourself.
Now, I think it's really cool. We got a few other kids that are going off. We got Wolfgang's going to Army. We got Danny Sheen's going to Indiana. We got Dan Gibson. He's going off to Coast Guard. Like, we got a whole bunch of these kids that are wrestling in college. And I think it's really cool because you know how the wrestling community is. We're all so tight-knit. We somewhat know everybody. And I think it's really cool that I'm gonna one day be on a wrestling mat, wrestling Iowa in a duel. I'm gonna look over there. I'm gonna see Colby. I'm gonna see Gabe. I think it's awesome. Like I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna see Bo wrestling my team probably in the first few duels next season. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
So you've been number one in the country for a while now, your weight class, back when you were down 26, like now, it's always been a target on your back, but with that comes pretty much every top 10 school, jumping at you to try to get you to commit there. I'm sure you probably got talks from Kale Sanderson, the brands and all that. What made Ohio State stick out?
Okay, so this is gonna kind of go into my past a little bit.
Yeah.
So looking at all these schools, I was recruited by some amazing coaches and some amazing programs. But what really stuck out to Ohio State for me was Tom Ryan. Tom Ryan, I don't know if it's well known with you guys, but he lost his son, and I lost my baby brother. So we kind of bonded over that, and I feel like he's someone that will always look out for me. And I'm not saying all these other coaches wouldn't do that, but I feel like I'm a little bit more safe around him. I feel like he understands what I'm going through and why I want to work so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you have obviously made it very public, the loss of your brother was, definitely such a tough thing. So, was that something that kind of motivated you all the way through, from that point on all the way through the rest of your career? That was something,
Oh, 100%.
and I know you got immense support from the wrestling community, from, all big name wrestlers to, just parents of, your teammates. Everybody was reaching out, and, what has that been like for you, kind of overcoming all of that, and, just kind of, remembering your brother in such a good way, your whole career?
I think it's good. It really shows the love of the sport. Like you got all these people that will yell and scream at each other and like say terrible things to each other while they're wrestling. And like you have these coaches going at each other, but they'll come together when it's something like this. And it really shows the camaraderie and love for the sport we have. And, we might not know each other, but we'll still take care of each other. And I think it's an amazing thing.
Yeah. So going off of that, just like the link in your bio, you have livegreco.com, what kind of went into starting that, and like how involved are you, and like what are kind of your goals with it?
Well, I want to raise awareness, obviously. DIPG is probably it's a really deadly one, and it's not really well known, and it's cancer on the brainstem. And well, we wanted to tell the story and for people to understand why we're so invested and thriving in the sport, because let's be honest, like who wants to just go into wrestling and just like go beat up on other people, cut weight without having to drive to want to do that? Because you gotta love this sport to do this stuff. And I feel like Greco really helped me love the sport, because like, yeah, I had to watch him go through chemotherapy, all these other things, and he always had a smile on his face. So I felt like I could go cut weight. I felt like I could go work out. I felt like I can go get my face bashed in and still have a smile on my face. And that's what I thrive to do. I want to show people that it doesn't matter how hard it gets, you can still be a good person and still have a smile on your face and still do good things.
Yeah. And I mean, the recognition has been insane, all kind of outstanding wrestler awards have been named after your brother. And, I know I think there's a tournament that's named after him as well.
Down in Florida at the Live Greco. Yeah.
Just his name in general, like his name really just, it is wrestling, it's
yeah.
Like, I mean, that's going to be kind of overwhelming for you, hearing about all these tournaments and the outstanding wrestler awards being named after him. I'm sure, that was great for your family to hear, it's spreading across the country. It's not just, in PA and in, the surrounding states. It's truly gone across the country that, everybody knows and, is feeling for you and your family.
Yeah. Again, that just shows the camaraderie of the sport and how everybody will take care of everybody in wrestling.
Yeah. So you're on a team with your brother Vince, I think what is that like now before you were just kind of by yourself there?
Yeah, so Vince, he had a few tournaments throughout the season. He was 126. He was the weight below me. And after Powerade, this kid just exploded. He's taller than me, he's thicker than me, and he's stronger than me. This past weekend, we went the same weight class. So it's getting to a point where we're kind of just thinking about we're just going to let him grow and see how big he gets. Because honestly, I could see him being a 45 pounder. I don't. He's big. He's got a big frame. He's going to be a strong dude. So we don't know with him yet. He's tough as nails, and well, honestly, he's the exact opposite of me. I'm a type of guy that'll go out there and grind and fight with the guy, hand fight hard, beat him up, and he's gonna pick them apart. He's very technical with his movements. So we're kind of opposites, but still got that grit.
Yeah. So
Did
going
you,
back,
did you guys end up wrestling each other?
Oh yeah. Oh, we didn't wrestle each other.
Oh, no.
Mom said Thanksgiving dinner is a little bit more important than just a wrestling match. So we ended up doing rock, paper, scissors. Just so you know, I still won. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm still gonna beat him.
That's
so,
fun.
you're on a powerhouse team, one of the best teams, if not the best in the country. Every single year you've been there. Going back, you were with studs like Gabe Arnold, Kobe Franklin, both heading to Iowa, and even more guys. Like, what was that? What was that experience like being part of like somewhat of a super team in high school?
Honestly, it's very, very humbling because I remember my sophomore year, I just became the number one wrestler at 126, I believe. And like, then you look to the weight class above me. Oh, Bo's there. He's number one. Then you look above him, Drew Munch, he's number one. Then you look at Lachlan McNeil, number one. Like, all the guys on the team were ranked number one or top 5 or top 10. So you weren't special. You weren't special if you're like that. So I feel like that was a very humbling experience because if you look around, the guy above you is going to beat the hell out of you, even if you are ranked number one. So even the guys that didn't make the team, they were top 5. So I think it's really good for us because it taught us to be humble, still work hard, because if you're beating people in your own weight class, why not try to beat people in the next weight class above you? And then you got the number one ranked kid at the weight class above you in your room and you want to go train with him, because I think it was a really good experience. You had the best of everything. You had kids that wanted to fight, kids that wanted to get better.
Yeah,
I think one big thing that Gabe Arnold brought up when we talked to him was Bo Bartlett made it a thing to headlock every single freshman.
Oh, he never got me.
He never did.
He never got me. Okay. I came in as a sophomore. He got all the freshmen. He hit all the sophomores in Peterson's.
Oh.
Did
he really?
Hit all the sophomores in Peterson's.
Oh my God. Oh, what was that like?
Painful. Because whenever he got you, he was like, okay, it's not just a Peterson. It was tight. You would try to turn it into a reverse cradle or something. Like, he made it tight.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I know, even Gabe touched on it, talking about like the Sem B team, or the guys who didn't quite make, that starting lineup. And I know personally, I wrestled in PA, and there's always this tournament around Christmas time, the Tunkhannock Holiday tournament. And one of your team always ended up there. I don't know if I think it was a solid mix of guys from your team, and they just ran through the tournament. Every finals match was from Wyoming Seminary.
Yeah.
And it was just like, your backups are coming down and just laying the hammer on all these public schools. And it was kind of crazy to watch because like a lot of these guys, weren't really seeing the mat in SEM duels and SEM matches like that. And I think that just goes to show that if, Gabe said this, if you could put any of those guys in a big duel, they're probably going to win.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
definitely. All these kids, they have to deal with us all day. They have to train with us. And honestly, at SIM, wrestling is a cult. We only hang out with each other. And all these guys, they come into the room and they want to make the team. So they work out hard. They work hard. And if they don't make it, then coach will set up a little area for them to go wrestle at, because we're trying to get them on the mat. They get on the mat and they just run through everybody. If you put our second strings into Ironman, I guarantee every single one of them will be top 5.
Yeah. And I mean, like, and then like, even you mentioned it, like, those are D1 kids. Like, those are all kids going D1. Like, that's insane to see. Like, most high schools, they wish for 1 or 2 kids to go D1 or D2 or D3 to come out of their program. And then you have SEM, who they're guys that aren't even in the starting lineup, or most of them are going D1. Like
Yeah.
that's gotta be insane. They're going to Davidson or they're going to Campbell or they're going to, Harvard, it's insane.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to be surrounded by people that want to, go wrestle in college. Because if you go to another high school, like they see it as a high school sport. They don't see it as a
Yeah.
lifestyle. All the wrestlers at Sim, this is our life. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to touch on this a little bit. So what was it like for you, going through the coaching change? I know Coach Green, he was a phenomenal coach, did a lot for the program and, obviously had great success over the years. So what was that like for you bringing in a new coach and kind of changing, that whole aspect of the SEM team?
All right. Yeah. So when coach left, none of the guys really blamed him. We all knew it was a very, very good opportunity for him and his family. So there's no hard feelings there whatsoever. We still love him. He still comes around every once in a while and he still treats us like family. So no hard feelings to him. Not gonna lie, in the beginning, it was kind of rough because it was transitioning. Some kids are used to training at a very certain style and other kids aren't. Me and all my team were originally used to the grind, like the grit, just going in there, getting our faces pounded in every single day. When Cornell came in, it wasn't that. So it was a learning curve for most of us. It was more technique based and very, very not, I don't want is slow because he was very go through the motions, figure it out. And then we would pick it up slowly and slower and slower and slower. And then we would just have blowout days where we just go hard. It was a learning curve, but I think everything's getting pretty good. Probably the second month he was there, we just, it was up in the air in the beginning because we didn't know what we were doing. And then everything kind of went better as it went along.
I think that just becomes somewhat of a problem with high school coaches. Like if you're a high school coach, I want to say Sam's probably, pays a good bit more, but most high schools normally you're getting maybe like 8,000, 9,000 a season. If to college, you're getting paid like even Division II, Division III coaches are mostly making over six figures where we're at, especially in Pennsylvania. So it becomes a problem. Like if you're a good enough coach, right, you're doing this part-time, you get an offer for like 120K to go coach a D1 school that you're good enough to coach, right? Like there's no real justification for not taking that kind of.
Oh yeah.
No, especially.
Yeah. All the wrestlers on our team, we understood why he was doing it, and there was no hard feelings whatsoever. He's going off to coach at a college, and good for him. We're happy for him. And
did the Army offer roll in and before or after he was there?
It was a little late whenever because I already had my ideas on what I was doing. He tried to hop in. I said, Coach, I already have everything kind of figured out. And he goes, yeah, I thought I'd just try to throw my hat in there before everything went down. And I was like, I don't blame him.
You can't blame him.
I can't blame him at all.
Did they ever come in your mind to go there?
No, not really. I'm not gonna lie, I hate the cold. I absolutely hate the cold. And I know that's farther up north, and I don't know if I can do that. It sucks that all the really good wrestling schools are up north.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously talk about hating the cold. We talked to Gabe a little bit about it. He was a big not fan of the cold. He went from Georgia all the way up to NEPA. So, were you a PA boy to start with?
I'm from Florida, man.
Oh, there we go. From Florida. We'll ask you
Me and Gabe came up together, and when we got here, we're like, oh, it's going to be fine. I didn't get a winter coat until like 6 months. It was brutal. Me and Gabe were over here just in the lunchroom, not wanting to go outside to go to our next class because it was freezing. I hated every second of it.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Gabe about. I grew up 10 minutes away from Sam, so I grew up in that area. So talking to him about the weather and stuff, I was like, man, I thrive in that cold weather. I'm so used to it. Like I just we in high school, all 4 years of my high school, we were running outside during wrestling season. It was throw a hoodie into sweatpants on, and you're going outside and running. So I kind of just grew up in the cold environment. So what was that like for you that first winter at Wyoming Seminary? The snow starts coming down, and what was that like for you?
it was brutal. That's all.
And I'm pretty sure I want to say you would have been at SEM when the blizzard happened, or was that the year before you came?
Year
There was
before. Year, it
yeah,
was the year
there was a
before.
blizzard. We
Me
got
and
like
Gabe got lucky.
we got 4.5 feet of snow. And I wish we got to talk to some of those down south
Oh,
SEM boys
it was bad.
about what they thought about the 4.5 feet of snow. So what was the winter like for you? Was it not good?
It was not good at all. When we first got here, we were renting out an apartment, and we only had to shovel like the porch area and stuff like that. Then we got a house, and that changed everything because we had to shovel the driveway, and our driveway is on a huge slope, so that was horrible. I'm just trading another cold state for another cold state, so I got to get used to it sooner or later.
You're shuffling your cards, PA and Ohio, back and forth. It's not a big temperature difference.
So when we're talking about this whole debate, hardest high school wrestling states, there's obviously the the states that normally get thrown in there. And then there's like outliers trying to throw in like random states. Like you'll hear I don't want to say California because they're pretty solid. You hear like Florida getting thrown in, Georgia getting thrown in. Being that you wrestled in Florida, where do you think that stands?
Honestly, I would say PA, Jersey, and maybe California, because the only reason I would throw California in there is because that's a completely different style. The wrestlers wrestle different, and being on this side, you're not used to that, so they're a lot harder because you don't understand their style. But Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and there is a place in Florida that I would argue could probably beat a lot of those kids. Miami, those kids down there, there are some tough kids down there. So yeah.
So what was this? Were you there you were in the same class, I think Rob Howard, Michael Koliako that year? I think that was the one year the rankings were like shuffling around.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Whenever I was down in Florida, my freshman and 8th grade year.
Yeah, they were going off, and then I think there was that big, obviously the Bergen versus Blair duel.
Yeah,
I think this was
I wasn't at Sim yet, so I wasn't. Okay. I didn't come here until my sophomore year. So I spent my first 2 years at Lake Highland, my 8th grade year at Lake Highland, and my freshman year at Lake Highland. Then I moved up.
Did you win a state title in Florida as a freshman?
All right. So if you're part of a prep school in Florida, you can wrestle states as a middle schooler, like high school states.
Okay.
So I won my 7th grade year, won my 8th grade year, won my freshman year.
Okay.
So I won 3 state titles in Florida.
Wow. You don't hear about that a lot. I feel like that's not really been mainstream, wrestling news, that you won 3 Florida state titles before you even came to SEM to wrestle at prep nationals. And so you've done it all. We talked to a lot of guys who wrestle at the prep level who, they fell a little bit short. They fell a little bit short wrestling at states, in public school before they transferred over. So what's the difference like? What's the difference like for you, from wrestling at that Florida State tournament, winning it, to, then wrestling at prep nationals? What was the difference like for you?
So preps, there is a prep states, but it's not like, like a regular state tournament. It doesn't feel the same, but I want to say moving up from Florida to here and wrestling in preps, like the original theory was to wrestle at preps when I was at Lake Highland. It just never really happened. But whenever I came to SIM, I was like all nervous because, we got preps. And I kind of grew up like hearing about it, like it's this big tournament. Wyoming Seminary, Blair, Malvern, all these big name schools that you heard about. And then whenever I went through prep states, I won that, and then I went to preps. And my sophomore year, I was scared, but I kind of looked around me and I thought, Bo Bartlett kind of kicked my face in every single day this year. I think I'll do okay. And once I started wrestling, everything kind of fell into place. I remember my, I forget what match it was, but it was a kid from the hill school, and I wasn't doing too good. I felt sloppy. He took me down a few times. I was down behind, and I pinned the kid. And I looked over to the where my coaches were, and every single one of my teammates, even the full girls team, was standing there screaming. And I was like, okay. And then that's when I really kind of felt like Wyoming Seminary is my home now. I belong here. That's how I felt after preps.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Sam, has had such a dominant, wrestling team on the male side. And now you see them, not just dominating on the male end, but now absolutely dominating on the women's side. So, I mean, do you guys practice together?
So we used to a lot. Now with all the COVID stuff, they kind of held back on it, because now you got to look at it. We got probably 40 plus male wrestlers and probably 40 plus girl wrestlers. And it's kind of hard to fit them all on 2 mats. So we do our best to train with each other, but it's not like an everyday thing now. It used to be whenever Coach Green was coaching, and we would have these Monday practices. I love these Monday practices. Every single wrestler on the team would come in and we would just go live. All the girls came in, wrestled live with us. All the boys came in, we all wrestled each other. It was great. But ever since COVID happened, it was kind of hard to do something like that.
So, what's that like for you now, watching, the Blades and, all those girls, on that team? What's that like for you, watching that team just evolve and just take off and just dominate the women's scene?
It's fantastic. Like, watch Kennedy at these big events, and I'm like, oh man, I ankle picked her to her back once. And like, those are like things you tell your kids and stuff like that. And you're gonna see Kennedy at the Olympics, I guarantee it. That phenomenal wrestler. And then you got to look at Karina. Karina is still such a great wrestler, but she's been plagued with injuries for a little bit, but she's getting better and she's scrapping now, and we're really happy to have all the girls wrestle with us.
Yeah, I think more than anything, you have these women's programs coming up at the D1 level. I think the Blades are committed to Arizona State. And then you have Kylie Welker, the other really big commit. She's going to Iowa. And then there's people all around. Like, what do you think? I'm not sure if Ohio State's adding a team. Pretty sure they are soon.
Keep your eye on it.
Okay, like, what's your kind of outlook for this? Of course, it's going to bring a lot more money to the sport, I think, is the main thing. And then more scholarships on top of that.
Yeah, it is. It's just really, it's down to like the Section 9 thing, where like you have to have even amount of sports. It's just a whole bunch of stuff in the way, because not only are you raising money for the girls program, you got to raise money for some other male program to even everything out. But honestly, I feel like there needs to be more girls wrestling, because my little sister wrestles, and I want to see her at the D1 level. So yeah, I feel like it's just going to be a time thing. It's going to take some time.
Yeah, I think this is something I started looking into as my sister started wrestling as well. But, looking at it, I think one of the biggest questions was the whole viewership thing. Like, if it's not bringing in money, like, it's not going to be played on TV. So I was going to say this. I don't know. I've just like randomly thought about this. But you have there's, I think, 10 weight classes for women's too, I think.
Yeah.
You run the dual meets simultaneously. You do like 125, then the first women's weight class, and then go like that. I don't know if that would take like 3 times longer, but
I think that would be a good idea, because it will bring viewers. But sometimes I feel like girls wrestling is more exciting than guys wrestling.
I wrestle at a Division II college, and we have a women's team, really great women's team. We have, girls that were on the junior Olympic team last year. And, we just got a new commit who is ranked number 1 in the nation. She won, I think, 2 or 3 Fargo titles. So, watching girls wrestle a college freestyle is so exciting.
Oh, it is, because like you got these girls that don't care; they'll scrap with each other. I love it.
Oh yeah, it's so great. It's like we have the whole 40-man male roster in the bleachers just going crazy at these women's freestyle college duels. It's insane. Yeah, I mean, and I think it's only going to make women's wrestling, more well known. Have these big, Big Ten schools, now having women's wrestling. I mean, it's only going to bring more to the sport.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's going to be awesome to watch. And I hope they stick with the freestyle. I hope they don't, make a change and go to folk style, because I think freestyle is the way to go there. It's insane. Next level watching freestyle duels.
Yeah, because don't you love just seeing people throw people? That's so much fun. I have way more fun wrestling freestyle than folk style.
Yeah. This is always a debate that's been going on. Should college wrestling be changed to freestyle? But I think that leaves the whole thing because you have freestyle on both sides. You can't do Greco there. So I don't know.
Yeah, so Greco wouldn't fit in that well with it, but because Greco is really hard. I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people do not see the appeal of it. I actually really like it, but freestyle is just something else. Freestyle is just crazy, and you need a lot more than just the technique, the wrestling. You need to be ready because people got stuff you've never seen before and they just throw it at you.
Yeah. I think there's something, again, like this country as a whole doesn't put that much emphasis on Greco. So I think that may decrease the appeal of it. But if you look overseas, I'm assuming you've
Oh,
probably
I
watched
went
a
over
lot.
to Russia and
Yeah.
these people love Greco.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to the freestyle finals and there's a good amount of people there.
Yeah.
We were in Russia. There's a lot of people watching it. But when Greco came along, the place was packed. You could barely find a place to sit. Like, it was packed.
Because what's the dude that just won the Olympics? Musa Vloyev.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, he's filthy. Like, again, Russia really isn't known for Greco, but like, and that still shows like how many people are watching it too.
Yeah, Greco's something else.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
a lot of fun.
So obviously, high school season is over. What are you looking forward to now, getting ready to compete in this off season before you get to Ohio State? What are some big competitions you're looking at going after?
So obviously I'm going to Vegas. I want to try to make a world team. That's my goal, and that's everyone's goal right now at Sim. Our goal is to have a all Sim freestyle world team. So that's what we're focused on right now. I do not think I'm hitting Fargo this year. I don't think I'm hitting anything like that. I'm just focusing on worlds and world trials.
Feldman's heading down. I've never seen that man compete in freestyle.
Oh, I've seen him wrestle a few times in freestyle. He's fun to watch because I
could imagine.
Oh, he's like 230 and probably one of the most athletic heavyweights I've ever seen. This guy's just running circles around these people and he's like, oh, I can pick this up, picks up this guy that probably weighs 275 and just rips him through in a reverse lift. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Can I get some of that strength? What steroids are you on?
He's just a different animal.
Because I remember
just a different breed of human being.
I remember when he beat Mullen 12-0, I think at Powerade or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And then this is when Mullen's a junior. This kid as a freshman won the state title like in my bracket. And it really wasn't competitive. It was like 7-3 in the finals.
Yeah, Jimmy was actually my roommate whenever I was training for Worlds last year. Yeah. And probably one of the nicest guys I've met. He's really cool, but he works hard and he's not a bad wrestler. He is really good. Yeah, no. And it just puts into perspective how dangerous Nick Feldman is.
Yeah.
I
think Ohio State definitely got their hands on something that could potentially be an insane college wrestler. And I'm excited to see what he looks like. I'm kind of hoping he takes a red shirt, his freshman year. You get that.
We're trying to put some meat on him, trust us.
Yeah.
We're trying to put some
build him up, get him to like 245, 250. And I want to see how massive, he already looks like Brock Lesnar, but get him up to 250.
Oh, we call him Brock Lesnar 2.0 for fun. We know what he is. We know what he's going to do. We're just trying to make sure he does it the right way. He's a good kid, keeps his nose clean, knows what he's doing.
To know. Good stuff.
Just the way he moves so fluidly. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just his wrestling IQ for a heavyweight too is just something I've never seen before. And I'm talking about going back to when Gable Stevenson and Kyle Snyder were in high school. I'm not comparing them to the guys nowadays. It's
give it time. I guarantee people will be comparing them to those guys.
Because I said it when I had him on the podcast. I want to say 30 episodes ago at this point. I'm I'm watching you wrestle. You're kind of like a mix between Gable Stevenson and Kyle Snyder. Everyone's you're being a little premature on this, and then now you have this. So, here we are.
I mean, I say give it a year and then you can compare them because I know people are going to jump to conclusions, but he's going to be something. Just keep your eyes on him.
Yeah. I mean, you can't look like that and move like the way he does. And I think the reason why he moves so well is because he wrestled those lighter weights. He's been all over the weight. He's been all over the weight classes. Now he's at heavyweight, the end of it. So I think, wrestling all the way up, he kind of learned how to move like a lightweight. He learned how to move like a middleweight. And he moved like in, 74, 84. And now he's at heavyweight. And now he has all that knowledge and all that wrestling IQ from wrestling the lightweights. And now he's just a tank. He's taking shots, and he's faking people and head snaps. And it's just insane watching him wrestle. He's definitely going to be a great pickup for Ohio State. Trying to build that Kyle Snyder kind of dominant heavyweight like Kyle Snyder was. I mean, that's got to be insane. It's got to be
sure. Yeah. He's going to be something cool to watch.
He's going to be great to be your roommate too. I mean, God forbid anybody bothers you on campus. You just call Nick and it's over.
Yeah, he's a gentle giant. Honestly, he's very sweet. Very he doesn't like yell or anything like that. He's really nice, but he works hard, and he's made it known, like, just don't do stupid stuff around him. We'll be cool. So I've been hanging out with him. He's a good dude. I like being around him.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's got to talk about it when he broke his finger at practice. And there's this really crazy video.
Fake, dude. That was
fake.
Yeah.
Yes.
How was it fake?
It double jointed.
It's not fake. So, like, I don't know what happened exactly, but he broke his finger when he was young. And I don't think they went to the doctor or anything, and he could just take it off. He's told me some funny stories that he's done his finger, like, messed with people and just dislocated it, made them scream. And he's the funniest dude. He does it at the randomest times and scares.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
Like I mean, God forbid if you ever need injury time to like take catch your breath.
Just need to relax.
Yeah. Yeah, I called the trainer over to slap it back into place. You're like, I'm good. Just go back and wrestle.
Yeah.
There was one of these matches I remember seeing. I think it was Gable Stevenson's debut against Derek White. This was like middle of the third period. White just broke his finger, and he just starts looking at the ref, just like, what do I do now? For like a whole 20 seconds before anybody says anything to him.
Yeah, that reminds me of a UFC fight I watched. Like, some guy got an arm bar, broke the arm, and his arm's just flailing around. The guy's like looking at the ref. The guy that broke the arm is looking at the ref, and ref's not doing anything. He started punching the guys in the face. Like, sometimes there needs to be like, a little bit of urgency from the refs, because things can go really bad really quick. I
think wrestling's definitely more contained than UFC or BJJ and like stuff like that. So I think it's definitely better.
So I mean, touching on UFC, I mean, so what's the end goal for you? Is the end goal just to wrestle as long as you could wrestle? Do you see yourself making a transition over? What's the end goal?
Yeah, so UFC has always been a dream of mine. My mom hates that dream, but so my plan is I want to win the Olympics. Obviously, I want to win the NCAAs. Those are my main goals. After that, UFC, I want to try my hand at it. I want to see what I can do. Obviously, I got the wrestling down, and I've done a little bit of jiu-jitsu, and only thing I really need to do now is work on striking and kicking and stuff like that. But that's way further down the line right now. I just need to focus on wrestling.
Yeah. I think who else making the transition? RBY is, I think, right now too.
RBY is, but we don't know if he's coming back or if he's just leaving, because in the early,
I don't think he is.
I don't think he's leaving either. Honestly, I think he's coming right back, because the Penn State fans want this kid.
Yeah.
They want him back. Who doesn't enjoy watching RBY just come up with the weirdest things, and doing all this stuff and getting on top out of you think he's getting pinned, but nope, he's on top of the guy now.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the most interesting wrestlers I've ever watched.
I don't want to say it, but I feel like he looked kind of like a little bit burnt out this season more than anything.
He did seem more slower paced. Yeah, I feel like it's nerves, because right now I think his mind is, it's my last year. So he wants to end on top. He probably doesn't want to do as many crazy things as he's used to doing, just because he wants to confirm that he's going to win the NCAAs.
Yeah,
that was my thought going into it.
I feel like if he has the slightest doubt that he can beat Dayton Fix, he probably won't come back. But if he's like, he already beat him twice, right? But again, it's like a 1-point match, and if he's like, if I leave now, I end up on top. I'm 2-time champ, 3-time All-American, and then where he is, right? But if he comes back, he loses to Fix essentially
Yeah,
can just ditch college right there because he doesn't need this. He's already in his 7th year next year.
yeah. Yeah, Dayton, I know he wants that match. So if he comes back, I can guarantee Dayton won't be training for anything other than just wrestling RBY.
Yeah, it's
I
been
mean,
rough for him.
speaking of Penn State, I mean, we got to touch on, now, not really knowing if Nick Lee's coming back. Do you think Bo makes the transition down back to a more natural?
Definitely.
I mean, I think any Penn State fan could really say, when recruiting Bo, it was going to be tough. Obviously him wrestling behind RBY. I mean, not RBY, but behind Nick Lee. And, he, decided to go up a weight class at 49. I mean, he hasn't been performing horribly, but, not really what the world
because he's
expected
severely
him.
undersized for that weight class.
Yeah.
I know Bo, and
everybody
Bo is
said
very undersized for that.
everybody is kind of waiting for Bo to make his 141 debut. And I think that's when a lot of fans are really, truly going to see what
The real Bo Bartlett. Because
yeah,
right now you're watching a Bo Bartlett that does not take as many shots as he's like when he was here. He was shooting. He was fast. He was like RBY. He was quick. But now at 49, he has to play more defensively because if he takes a shot and goes under one of those guys that probably weighs like 160 at the time they're wrestling,
yeah,
he's not going to be able to do much. So he's got to wrestle a lot smarter and can't let it fly right now.
Yeah.
What do you think these matches like with Bo Bartlett and Nick Lee are looking like in the room? Like if you had to give me a score line.
Okay, so I feel like Bo is getting in on the legs, but Nick Lee's taking some go behinds and stuff like that. I do think Bo can take him down every once in a while, but I feel like our Nick Lee is just in there, and RBY is just something weird to watch because Bo was telling me he got in on a double, like one of those tight doubles, guys up in the air. Yeah. Nick Lee just did something weird, and Bo was on his back. Like that's the matches you want to watch. And Nick Lee, he doesn't like going upper body. Doesn't like going upper body.
I know Penn State just doesn't like. There's no practice film anywhere for stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
no.
No. I mean, like I even trained there, at camps in the summers and stuff, and there was like the big rule was, you could sit there and watch the practices in the summer, but if no phones were allowed to be out, no cameras, no anything. What goes on in that room is probably some of the best kept wrestling secrets, of
I feel like they're more relaxed on the rule now, but like I can say there was like, very shush type stuff going on.
It's come to the point where like they won the national title by like 40 something points. Like Iowa can bring up the argument if they had Spencer Lee, but you take Spencer Lee, you have him pin his way through the national tournament, they still lose by 20 points.
Yeah. Even if Spencer Lee was in, I don't think Iowa's winning. Well, Iowa did have a very rough beginning. I think a lot of schools had a really rough beginning this year.
Penn State included, they had a rough beginning too.
Yeah. A lot of the schools had rough beginnings. I mean, I feel like the only school that stayed solid and knew what they were doing was Penn State. And Ohio State, we got to pick up a few things, but I feel like this next few years, Ohio State's going to come to the top.
Yeah. Who are you guys losing?
No one.
You lose Norndorf, I think that's it.
No, he's got another year.
Really?
Yeah, we're not losing anyone. We're the only school I don't think we're losing any seniors right now.
That's insane. I mean, you guys got hammered. Yeah. So, you return guys like Carson Karchla. I mean,
Carson's probably one of the coolest dudes ever. He's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you got him. You got Sasso, who's right there. Who's right there, ready to make the break to be back where he was last year. In the NCAA finals. So, I mean, you got to look forward to training with those guys every day.
I do.
Are you going to go 33 or are you going to go 41?
I'm going to be at 33 for sure. I think the plan for me is to be at 33. Jesse's going to be at 41.
Yeah. I figured that was the plan, being, that obviously, you guys are pretty close in weight. He's a little bit heavier than you. But
yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
so, I mean,
he's a grinder. All right.
Do Smith and Romero have extra years too?
Yeah, everyone has I feel like the only person that has 1 year left is Ortendorf.
Really?
Take
Okay, that's
yeah.
scary.
Which there
Oh
you
no,
go.
no, and Malik Heinzelman. He's
Yeah.
on his final year as well.
Yeah,
Then
Huntsman's
there
been
you
around
go.
for a while.
You got Nick Feldman right there. He gets, a nice, red shirt, and then next year, the year
Just
after next, just
killing
takes off.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. If you had
So,
to say, where do you think he places? How do you think he would have done at this year's national tournament if he just walks in there?
All right. I feel like Nick is way more athletic than a lot of the guys in there, but I feel like he's severely undersized for a heavyweight in college wrestling.
Yeah.
I feel like he would go in and he would walk through the first few matches, but once he got to semis, I think he would run into some issues. But I think he could make the finals, but I don't think he's beating Gable Stevenson.
Yeah. Okay, I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think a lot of people, that was a conversation I saw a lot of, wrestling pages were talking about was, where does Nick Feldman place? Does he All-American? A lot of people in the comments were like, he wouldn't have even made the podium, and I disagree with that completely.
No,
I think even at his size, I think he's easily a top, top. You could put him anywhere from, I think from, to be respectful, 3 to 8, he's somewhere in there. He would.
Oh yeah,
there's
for
no
sure.
way
He's just undersized. Imagine whenever we put more meat on him, and this kid's running through it.
I think it becomes a problem because he hasn't wrestled in college yet, right? He's wrestled one match against Knight and Ward, beat him 10-3, right?
He's done some college opens.
Yeah, I think that's the first only real ranked guy, right? If you put him against Lance, again, who's the 8th place guy, so that's a toss up. I think he's better than everybody who fell in the blood, so I want to say. But then you have Cassiope. Yeah. Cassiope is just a straight up world champ, right? You can't say there's no depth to that weight class. I think Paris is a good matchup for him. Again.
Yeah, I think so too.
Davidson's definitely a good matchup. I think Kirk Fleet just becomes a problem with a guy who can match your speed and everything. Gable is just Gable.
Gable's Gable. Gable's Gable.
And Schultz might
just put the weight on
him. I don't even know.
Yeah, Schultz. What do you think? We were talking about this, in our own conversation. We want to know, in your opinion, what do you think he weighed after weigh-ins wrestling in the finals? My bet was that he was pushing 3 in the finals.
He had to have been.
Yeah, because he weighed in at nationals.
I would say probably like 295.
Yeah. Because at nationals, he weighed in that last day of weigh-ins at 284. They don't tell you point what, but he was 284.
I want to say that was the first day of weigh-ins.
Oh, yeah.
Because I find no way he wouldn't be using that whole 288.
Yeah.
And there's only so much you can eat and drink before you stop feeling good. That's the thing.
Yeah. He's just a Greco guy. I mean, he sticks to that one, that the Greco weight. He cuts a little bit to get down to 285, but he's not giving up much more than that. And I think he kind of keeps that old school heavyweight alive, that weighing in 283, 284, 285. And then you got these new age heavyweights like Feldman who are weighing in, 230, he'll probably go up to about 245, 250. I mean, it's kind of interesting to see. You got both sides of the spectrum. I mean, you saw it this year in the finals, they kind of collided. And I think it was interesting to see, both types of heavyweights wrestle. It's kind of like the Snyder Coon, where it was, you have Adam Coon, who's a big Greco guy, who's this massive man. And then you have Kyle Snyder, who's a 97-pound
undersized heavyweight that can run circles around you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy to see, how this plays out. I mean,
it's going to be interesting. It's going to be cool.
I mean, might as well go back to Nick Bouzakis. I mean, you got to be excited. What are some matches you're looking forward to? I mean, I'm sure you don't really know a lot of the guys that are really going to be left in your weight at 133 when the time comes for you to put on the strap, put up the Ohio State straps. But I mean, what are some of your dream matches that you could wrestle?
I want DeSanto. I want to wrestle DeSanto so bad. I don't know if he'll still be in.
Get a match with him going.
I want to wrestle DeSanto so bad because I don't know why, but I just want to wrestle this kid. Him, RBY, I have rolled with him in the past, but I want to see like the real him. I really want to feel. I want to feel that real RBY. Like I'm in on a double. Oh, where'd he go? Like I want to feel that. And then Dayton Fix, because I rolled with him when I was younger, and I remember feeling him. I'm like, if I get both his knees together, I don't think he can go anywhere. And I took him down once. I was like super surprised, and now I want to wrestle him now and see how it goes. I know he has one more year, and we might meet each other.
Yes, 2 more.
I really want DeSanto. That's the guy.
Yeah, 2 more years.
2 more years. Are
Yes,
perfect.
2 more. Yeah.
Technically, okay. We'll head back to my theory. He's in his 7th year next year as a junior, right? Say if he doesn't win that one, which I don't want to say, but say he doesn't, takes an Olympic red shirt for his 8th, then he comes back for his
He's
9th.
going to take the Olympic red shirt, and then he's going to come back, and he's going to be in college for 9
year
years.
of college.
Yes,
Yeah.
at 27.
27 years old, 9 years at the University of Oklahoma State. That's gonna be insane. Like I couldn't imagine going through because you got to take classes. Like no matter what, the rest
You
of
gotta
gotta
take
classes.
You got a doctorate in something probably by then.
I feel like you just kind of start filling stuff with gen eds.
Oh yeah, you have to.
The Penn State guys were rolling with the fly fishing and basket weaving classes.
It's hilarious. Yeah, I know
had
some of the things you hear.
When another Blue Knight, when Jack Davis was at Penn State, he was giving me, we were talking, he was giving me some insight. The basket weaving and fly fishing classes were quite a hot commodity for the Penn State wrestling team.
Oh yeah, it is. There's something like that going on down there, but yeah, I think it's good. It keeps some titans in the sport, and I really like that.
Yeah. We're rolling with time here, so I think we should get into it. Roll right into the questions.
At the end of the episode, we ask a bunch of questions that I may have just made up on the spot, but the first one is
mine have been ready. They're ready.
Yes.
Go ahead.
You versus NATO. What's the score?
I've trained with NATO
in folk style.
Say again.
In folk style. What's the score?
Okay. Nathan Tomasello. Okay, he's the exact same body type as me. He's a little shorter, so I think I'll lose by 2. I think it's going to be 6-8.
Really? Okay. And Nick Feldman versus Colin Moore.
I gotta say Nick. Come on, I feel like Nick's gonna win. Yeah.
Oh man, I feel like Colin's gonna see this.
I know he is. Colin, I love you. I'm sorry, but I gotta rep my boy.
You really haven't? You haven't been Colin? I don't know. I'm interested to see.
I got Feldman.
I think you could say Moore is like a top 3 guy in the world right now in 92. I feel like if he's not cutting weight, he's like 215.
Yeah, I'm going with the Ohio State boys. Sorry.
Is Colin Moore still at Ohio State?
I
think so. Yeah.
Over the last few times I was up there, I don't think I saw. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
You gotta change your answer now.
I don't know because I'm going up there this
We're
weekend for
Ohio
camp.
State boys. Yeah.
I don't think they'll care. I know they both.
I'm going up there this weekend, and Colin's going to be there, and so is Nick. So I can actually give you a real answer.
Hear me out.
I'm going to hear you
We
out.
videotape this, just like a 2-minute go.
Yeah, I can see what I can do, but
or
I know
at least,
Colin's going to beat the crap out of me now.
at least like a call more Nick Feldman, a picture of all 3 of you, just a nice selfie. We'll post it for you. Just a nice Ohio State group photo.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm saying Nick Feldman because we're both coming in and we're both roommates. And if I don't say him, I have to live with Nick. So that's
my roommate's name is Nick. He also wrestled. Every time he had wrestle offs this year, he'd be so nervous. He'd be like, "Man, I don't know if I'm gonna win." I'm like, "Nick, you're my roommate. You have to win." Like I can't win against your roommate.
I feel like it comes down to the point where if you're right and he loses, he can't be mad at you.
Yeah.
It's only if you're wrong and you lose.
Exactly.
And he wins. But so the final one of my questions, 2023 national picks.
All right, so I'm not a big statistic guy. Honestly, I'm one of those guys just gonna watch it. I'm not gonna make predictions because I don't like making people mad. So I'm just gonna watch it. I'm not gonna give you answers. Sorry,
I
boss.
respect it because we had a lot of guys come on here and waste our time with this question, and they would name their entire team starting lineup, and they'd be like, "Our team's gonna sweep nationals." I'd be like, "Highly unlikely, but okay."
Yeah, like
let's be honest. You got to say every team has at least 1 or 2 weak weight classes.
yeah,
No
I
team
can't
is
agree with
perfect from top to bottom of the lineup. Has a stud at every weight that's going to be a national champ. It's impossible.
unless you're Wyoming Seminary in high school.
That's true. Yes, but there isn't really a Wyoming Seminary of college per se.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Because if you had like Penn State, they're the powerhouse right now. But
they're lacking at 65 and 25.
Yes.
They are lagging at 65.
And 25.
25
Yeah,
no. Come in, right?
In theory, though, if you look at Penn State, they almost got Wick at 65.
Yeah, they almost did, but they
So
didn't.
I think if Wick's at Penn State, who knows where Keegan stands in that conversation, or Griffith too, right? You have Kirk Fleet, who's most likely the favorite to win next year.
Unless Feldman, does a red shirt.
Like I said, I'm not
talking about that.
I'm gonna step on any toes. I'm gonna let it play out and let it happen because
they were both on the podcast.
One of those guys that names my entire lineup, but I know that's not realistic, but obviously I want my entire lineup just to absolutely walk through the NCAAs. But we live in a real world, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
well, it's time
crazy.
for my questions. Gabe's answer was quite interesting. About the SEM cafeteria.
Gabe's answers are always interesting.
So you walk into the SEM cafeteria. What's the best food you've ever eaten at SEM?
Oh my God.
Gabe Arnold gave the weird answer of some dessert bar that's pretty much what his go-to food is at SEM. But
all right, so I'm a nutrition nut. So the SEM cafeteria set up this thing for like the wrestlers because we want this every day and it just makes our life easy. They have grilled chicken every single day for like athletes. So I go over there, get some grilled chicken. Then I go over, get some rice, put some chili peppers on it, put some other things in it. And that's what I have every single day. I don't really falter from that. So I'm a very bland person.
Never get tired of it? No,
I know it's good for me. I know like, hey, I got lift after this. I'm going to eat this and I'm going to feel strong and I'm going to feel good.
So no cheat meals, no nothing. You don't.
All right, my cheat meals are hot tamales.
The candy.
Oh yeah,
big hot tamales guy. Interesting take.
Yeah. So all right. So the reason I got hooked on hot tamales was I was so sick of my siblings like taking my Skittles, taking my M&Ms. I guess I kind of like went for some candy that just was off the wall, and I got hot tamales, and I started like training myself to like them. So now I'm just like, hey, that's my cheat thing because no one else likes them in my house and I can enjoy them.
That's fire. And then one last question. We asked this to everybody since we started. You could build your quote Wyoming Seminary super team of the zombie apocalypse with your SEM Blue Knights. You could take 4 of your SEM teammates with you into the zombie apocalypse. Which 4 and why?
Okay. I will love this. All right. Taking my brother Vince.
Okay.
I am going to take Gabe. I'm stuck between 2. I'm stuck between Meyer Shapiro. Oh, yeah. I could have 4.
Not including 4, not including yourself. And then we want a quick explanation on why you're taking each person. So why are you taking your brother? Why are you taking Gabe?
Because he's my brother, and if my mother finds out I never chose him, I'm dead. Taking Gabe because, well, it's Gabe. I need some comic relief in my life while I'm about to die to zombies. All right. Meyer Shapiro, because this kid, he's smart, and he knows what he's like. He can drive. He can like build fires and stuff like that. And one other kid.
Drive. Okay.
Me and him, we like driving in a way. And Matthew Lawrence. He's like a B team wrestler, but the smartest kid I've ever met. And I know if I'm going to make it through a zombie apocalypse, that kid is coming with me. I do not care. I will drop all the rest of them just to have him because I know I'll live.
All right, Nick, it was great. Great to talk to you. Good answers. You know, it was obviously, you know, great having a good conversation with you. You know, we wish you the best of luck at Ohio State, and we hope, you know, have you back on when you win your national title. So it's been
Okay.
good.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, man. So it's been
problem. Have a
episode
good
one of yes, sir. So then episode 1 and 2 of Late Night Shots. See you guys again next time.